Hello everyone, welcome. What we're going to be doing here today is answering a couple questions on doing a bearing job for a 2002 Subaru Outback front left hand side. When I went to go do this video, of course checked out the other videos online. I've done bearing jobs before, but not knowing the particular car, it's always a good idea to look up the particular nuances of whatever make, model, and year. So I just want to point out a couple things that I think those other videos might not go into detail as well. So here we are. So this is my CV axle here. We've got the boot with the tie here. Now this unit came out pretty easily. It wasn't stuck, nothing to that effect. I like to hang the caliper up here so it doesn't put any tension on the brake line. These bolts that the knuckle are mounted to, I marked these on the nut themselves, so that way when I go to retorque these back on, they line up with the head and the nut, because this is your adjuster for your alignment. Unless you want to take your car in for an alignment after this job, before you remove these, mark them. ABS sensor, okay. And then we've got our CV joint mount down here. Now, the things that I want to talk about in particular are the bearing construction themselves. This is your outer cap for your bearing itself. When you purchase this bearing assembly, it's going to come with the inner and outer inside this bezeled outer cap already. These are your inner races for your inner and outer, and these are your keepers for your bearings themselves, and they sit on here like this. You've got your grease and then your bearings themselves inside the race here. So what happens when you bang this off of your CV joint, a lot of times what happens is you get the inner race cap sits on your hub itself here. So you see how you've got your splines. On the other side of this is a shaft. So when you pull it out, that inner race will more than likely be stuck on the end of this shaft. So in order to get this out pretty easily, what you want to do is pick up like a steering wheel puller or an extractor. I have a two-footed extractor. 3 is what I actually used to get up underneath the lip of this inner cap here, and then just used a size 32 or bigger socket to get on the inside of the post here, this inside this there on the outer side of the splines, to provide some counterbalance to pull that inner race off. Okay, I'll go ahead and show you what I'm talking about. So just a tool like this, you've got your feet are in different directions for whichever way you need to pull. They sell these at any auto parts store virtually. Yeah, but I had a lot more success with the 3 legs than the 2. Stuck that on the other side of the hub here, and again, like I said, I pulled this piece out. Now, when this comes out, you've got seals on the inside and the outside. Those just pop out. What's going to happen is because of all that pressure here, you've got a counter bore that sits inside here, and then you've got your regular inset bore on the front side of the hub there, pointing away from the vehicle. You really can't screw pressing this up, because pressing this back in, because of this counter bore. What I like to do is I like to take the bearing itself and put it in the freezer before I go to press this in. It makes it really easy. I don't apply any heat to this. It's one of those things where if you try to bang this thing out with a hammer, you're going to screw something up. Particularly when you're pressing this back in, you don't want to press against the inner race cup. You want to stay on the outside. If you're trying to get this out, then what I use is this bearing race on the outside here needs to come out facing the engine. So you will bang this out towards the engine. When you do this though, the trouble that you're going to have, and I apologize for not being able to show you the entire knuckle, but you're not going to have a lip to do it on. There's a retaining piece that's a part of the knuckle itself, it's on the outside of it, and you're really not going to have a lip to hold on to. But because you have a counter bore and because this is bezeled, what you can do is take and I used an old bearing here that's just about the right size, that pushes against the bezel inside of the outer cap of the old bearing itself. You see how that sits in there? You've got a gap here, so you can see that that's bezeled inside, and that bezel is there for the inner and outer bearing itself. Okay, so what you do is you put it in a press, and you're going to apply pressure facing away from the vehicle to bring it out of the knuckle this direction. So use something that size. I picked up a hard PVC cap from Ace. I wasn't super successful with it. Had this lying around, use this instead. Okay? I can't stress enough that this job is very, very easy with a hydraulic press. I've seen guys do it a lot of ways. I didn't have enough balls to do it with a Dremel cutter or anything to that effect. I didn't want to mess up the inside finish on the knuckle itself. I'll tell you what, I had there was a press at my work, went in, borrowed that really quick. You know, just a couple of these little home things that you've got lying around, you can get it pressed out. Another option is to just take it to an auto shop or a machine shop. Virtually everybody is going to have a press to be able to do this job. Okay, so that kind of takes care of the bearing piece. If you have any questions, go ahead, drop me a comment, subscribe, and I'll help you any way I can. Thank you. Bye-bye.